Well, hi there. So I had a little bit of a surprise. Just pulling this beer out of the fridge, I noticed something on the label which excited my younger boy. So I'll get to that in a moment. First off, last Sunday, had a couple, like an hour or so downtime between one event ending at church and having to be in town to pick up my boy from youth group. And there's not really enough time to come all the way down to my house and then go back, and that's more miles, and with the price of gas being what it is, just stay in town, right? So I stayed in town. And I was thinking, hey, I'll just go down to the waterfront and walk along. It was a beautiful evening. It had been a beautiful sunny weekend. It's cooled down a little bit this week, but I think the next few days are supposed to be warming up anyways. It was like beautiful, beautiful weather. Very, very beautiful weather. But as I'm driving, I see a sign pointing that way to a brewery and tap room I had not been to yet. Well, I had. So several years ago, well, not several years ago, over the last several years, I have occasionally enjoyed beers from Hoh River Brewing. Beautiful beers, wonderful beers, super high quality, just really good craft. You could tell there was a lot of like love and experience of beer that went into these beers from Hoh River. Little microbrewery. You never saw the cans at any local place, even the local places that, you know, had good microbrew selections. I never saw the beers anywhere except at the brewery itself. I would regularly, well, occasionally, to be honest, let's be honest, occasionally I would fill growlers from there. They had a particular skill with gosas, and some summers they had a really interesting selection of gosas, a key lime, a few others. But I enjoyed every beer I got from there. They never tasted like a home brewer getting beyond their capability. It was just really skillful beer. Plus, a couple of the times I went to the tap room, I would just sit and chat with the owner of the place, older dude who apparently ran a flooring company next door. Anyways, super great brews from a super great brewery. But last September they sold. Apparently the owner needed to focus back just on his flooring stuff, wanted to get out of the brewery stuff, and he sold to a husband and wife, and they started in the same space Rainwater Brewing, which I have not been to yet, So Rainwater Brewing, they've just been brewing since last September. Apparently this husband and wife have been home brewers for a lot of years, but this is their first foray, as I understand it. I may be wrong. This is their first foray into making the beers for real and selling them. And so it's always been, not always, for the last 6 months, it's been on the list in my mind of places I needed to check out. And so when I saw the sign that said Rainwater Brewing, and they're still open late Sunday afternoon, early Sunday evening, hey, that's a great place to kill an hour. So I went there and they had live music playing, and that was pretty cool. And I'm looking at their tap list, and they have a dark farmhouse ale. And it has been a little while since I've had a farmhouse ale. So sure, why not? But a dark farmhouse ale? I don't think I've never had a dark farmhouse ale, but typically farmhouse beers are pale. Just typically your saisons, your grisettes, your all your other farmhouse ales, which don't have to be wild ales, but typically a farmhouse beer is a seasonal wild fermented beer. And it doesn't mean they actually open up the cool ships and let like wild yeast inoculate. More often they just put in Brettanomyces or another of the strains of yeast that we call wild. I'm assuming there's an official definition for that, but I don't know actually. I just know that you'll get a saison, and that doesn't mean that it was actually open fermented. It just means there's Brettanomyces in there, which creates a nice particular character to the beer. So this is a dark farmhouse ale. So I drank it and I really enjoyed it. Beautiful beer. And then I saw they had bottles of it. Yay, I will take one so that I can do a video of it. And then here, as I pull this bottle out of the fridge today, this bottle of Barn Owl Dark Farmhouse Ale, I read the rest of the line, and this was not on the chalkboard on Sunday. With chantarelle mushrooms. It's a nice colored beer. That's like maple syrup, dark maple syrup. Yeah, there's some little bit of red to it. It's a really pretty beer. The head is rocky and present. So chanterelle mushrooms. This would be the second, maybe third that I recall beer I've had that specifically advertises having mushrooms. Pixie Rocker last fall was an exemplary 4-star, top class. If you see it, you should try it. Beer that involved mushrooms. So my younger boy is an amateur mycologist and has quite an interest in mushrooms. And so I mentioned this to him and he said, oh, then it should taste fruity. Well, we'll see. I did drink it on tap last week. Tap versus bottle, I find, does change the character of a beer, sometimes significantly. But I wouldn't say that I tasted fruitiness last week. But let's leave that aside and just get into it for now. For now, though, I am smelling, just without even the cup being near, the yeast aroma from this is really nice, and it tastes like, it smells like bread being baked. You know, while it's still early in the baking process, probably during the rising process, when you're just encouraging that yeast to get busy, and it has that kind of, it's a particular alcohol smell. But you're dealing with the malt, you're dealing with the, in the case of the bread, the grains, the flour, and the yeast and whatever liquids you have in there at the warm temperature, and it's just this wonderful aroma. And I'm smelling that bready, yeasty breadiness, like there's bread baking in the oven. Closer up a bit are roasty, but it's a real mild. It's still mostly that bready yeastiness, which is really quite nice. I'm going to try to avoid constantly referring back to Sunday, because I was not tasting the beer at that time specifically to note its characteristics. I was just enjoying a pint of a very nice beer. But now we've got, so yeasty. That's interesting. You don't typically, or I don't typically think of the yeastiness as a dominant characteristic. Even in a farmhouse ale, the aromas, well, no, I'm not going to say that. No, they are. The Brettanomyces has a particular funk. We describe it as, horse blanket or barnyard. While your IPAs, while some beers, the aroma may be dominated by the hops, now yeasts do play a significant part. And while you may not identify the flavor, the aroma as the yeast aroma, the fact that this smells bready, like rising bread, I think is the interesting thing to me. And that is such a dominant part of the flavor. I keep saying flavor, the aroma. Yeah, it's a nice roastiness. Like a fireplace the day after. You know, you had a fire pit and one evening, and like the next day, kind of that sort of aroma. There's the malts, and because the malts were clearly roasted, like there's the roastiness, but also it's a dark maltiness. But it's not sweet. I think a common characteristic of what I describe as young beers, not beers that themselves are young, but beers by breweries that are still figuring out their craft, they tend to have a particular character to the sweetness. And that's one of the things I was very happy not to taste in the Rainwater beer last week. Here we go again. Like it tasted like a beer by a brewery that knew their craft and knew it well. And yeah, so there is a maltiness here, but it's not that kind of sweet, syrupy maltiness. It speaks to grains that have been roasted and ground or mashed, and yeah. You get deep enough in there and there's almost a little bite of smoke. Makes me wonder whether there were any smoked grains in the mash bill. Smells good. Earthy, nutty. This is a very, very nice beer. It tastes of a dark beer, but of a moderate dark beer. It tastes like, I don't know, a mild porter kind of thing, or a Schwarzbier, not a Rausch beer, a Schwarzbier. Black, not smoky. There is the maltiness, that nice bready maltiness. There is the roastiness. There is an earthiness. I'm guessing the chantarelles probably play a part in that. There is a little bit of smokiness, but it's very subtle, very much in the background. There's a little bit of herbaceous character too, maybe a basil, or an oregano, or possibly a oh, what's the one you put on steak? It's got the kind of the almost like pine needle like leaves. I have a plant of it right over there that's profusely flowering at the moment, but I can't remember the name of it right now. But once again, it's subtle. So the big middle of this beer is a deliciously roasty maltiness. And then there's all these other flavors playing parts around it. The earthiness, which is this nice foundation, the kind of herbal, but it's a dark herbal. It's not bright. It's not like a cilantro. It's not even like a basil. It's more of the oregano or something like that. And oh, what else? The roastiness, the earthiness, the herbal. Yeah, it's a really nice beer. Like, it's not so heavy or bombastic or complex that you feel you have to savor it and ponder it. It's like, here I am to be enjoyed. It's very pleasant and enjoyable. But if you get into it, then it rewards that inspection and rewards it handsomely. That is a really good beer. That is a very tasty beer. I appreciate, so while Pixie Rocker was superlative and unique, this at first sip doesn't stand out as some weirdly unique one-off. This fits well within the comfortable beer category. But as I said, it rewards the inspection, and it rewards it well, and it's a beer worth drinking. I don't know that I would go so far as to give it a 4-star rating. It's a good beer, and I enjoy it. It's a microbrewery. If you live in the Olympia area and you haven't been to Rainwater Brewing, don't sleep on them. They are a capable brewery that is continuing the worthwhile traditions of Hoh River and doing well. And I plan to be back and fill growlers because. But if you don't live in the area, I don't know how you'd be able to source. I doubt their distribution is very far, considering like I said, I don't see their bottles or cans at any of the places, any of the local bottle shops. They just aren't out there. You can probably, it might be, you can only get them there at their tap room. But if you have access to their tap room, like I said, don't sleep on it. It's a good beer and it's worth having. And I hope that is the first of many Rainwater Brewing beers that I have. And a shout out to Rhiannon, the tap lady there Sunday evening. Had a good conversation, and we had some mutual friends, which was cool. So shout out to Marcus as well. He wasn't there, but she knows him. Anyways, yeah, this is me, Matthew. I'm going to give this 3 stars. It is a 3-star beer. It is a worthwhile beer. It is tasty. It is pleasant. It is enjoyable. Don't let the mushrooms in it throw you off. Don't let the farmhouse, frankly, throw you off. It doesn't really drink like a farmhouse beer. It drinks, like I said, more like a Schwartz beer, probably to the smoky, or to the roasty side more than the smoky, not really a Rausch beer. And it's just really tasty. And I'm going to enjoy drinking the rest of this. Anyways, this is me, Matthew, drinking and definitely enjoying Rainwater Brewing Company's Barn Owl, a dark farmhouse ale with chantarelle mushrooms. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side.